Parent of a weird kid, how did you react when you realized that your kid did weird or creepy stuff? My kid is into nature documentaries. Very into nature documentaries. One day when he was 3 years old, my wife was getting his bath ready. She was bent over the tub, checking the water temperature. My son shoved his face in her butt, took a huge whiff, walked away and said, "Ah, dominant female butt." I have since realized that not only is he into nature and its beasts, but he retains almost anything he sees while watching those educational shows. He's also most likely going to be a butt man. Pretty amazing that he made the connection to his mom being the dominant female though. He's not my kid, but my godson is extremely creepy. He likes to stand in his little sister's doorway while she naps and watches her sleep. I ask him why and he says, "It's the closest I can get to seeing her dead." He also likes to shove her fist in his mouth as far as it can go because he wants to know what suffocating is like, just in case. I'm pretty sure he'd be a serial killer if it wasn't for Mario Kart. He is 8. She is 5. He hasn't done as many creepy things lately. It was mostly right after she was born. He had a hard time adjusting. He still says the odd weird thing here and there, but nothing as bad as what I mentioned above. His offhand comments are much more innocent, such as, "I'm going to sell you on Kijiji," and "I'm going to sell you for a quarter and ask for a change," to his sister. Also, his character in Mario Kart is always Yoshi, and although he is unhealthily obsessed with the game, he's an otherwise normal 8-year-old. Can you give me the general region of the Earth that this kid is in? I'd like to avoid that area. I'm on the east coast of Canada. Most of us are pretty creepy. When I was supervising her in the bath, she stood up, dropped her washcloth in the water, stood on it to push it under the water, and menacingly whispered, "Now think about what you've done." Funny in hindsight, but at the time I was a little concerned that my daughter tried to drown a washcloth. This is really cute actually. Guess who the weird kid in your house is? My kid is a classical musician. We're the village fools, so I have no idea where this talent came from, but he is known as the weirdo in the family. Don't get me wrong, we're very proud, and there really is nothing quite as moving as listening to The Planets live from some major performing arts center. It has been a real education for us. Alas, we really don't fit in when we attend his concerts, and we are the weirdos. Nice to see weird being beneficial or interesting, as opposed to creepy as it has been in the rest of the thread. Best of luck to him. Not my kid, but my nephew. He's 10 years old and is being taken out of school for homeschooling. He's had major trouble learning and fitting into the classroom in general. The weird kid aspect is this crush that he has on a girl in his class. I hesitate to say crush because it's full-on creepy 10-year-old stalking. His parents have had probably 30 talks with him about moving on, and that this girl does not and will not ever see him as anything positive, and that he needs to get over it. He has seen 2 different counselors who recommend he be taken out of any situation in which he might be around her, because he is completely obsessed with her. This causes him to have a panic attack because it's part of his identity. His exact words were, "If I'm not the boy who likes X, then I don't even know who I am. That's me. I'm the boy who likes X." He isn't allowed to have any type of electronics that can take pictures because he took his iPod to school and took a bunch of pictures of this girl. His parents are worried about where this will go, so to try and combat it, they've pulled him out of school and he's in serious counseling. He's a sweet kid, but does he have some major fundamental problems? Or he just found his one true love at a very young age, and 30 years down the road, after countless therapy sessions and his parents taking any and all precautions to protect her from him, he will absent-mindedly sit next to her on the subway and not notice that it's actually her until she gets up and walks into the platform. He jumps from his seat, barely makes it through the closing door, catches her by the hand, and as she turns around to see who it is, she immediately recognizes him and falls in love with his shimmering eyes. 2 weeks later, her body washes up on the shore and he's arrested for her murder. I babysat the neighbor's kids when the parents went out. The little boy, around 6, told me, "I'm going to kill Mummy," and took me to the top of the stairs where he tied string across the banisters at ankle level. I used to tie strings around things to make little trip traps when I was a kid too, but never at the top of the stairs, and I certainly never did it to kill Mummy. I hope you told that kid's parents. I don't know if it's creepy, but my son loves fat bellies. When he was younger, he used to hug people and smush his face in their bellies. He always liked our fat friends the best. He's 7 now and still keen. I have to remind him that ladies don't like being told they've got a nice big squishy belly. Oh, a future chubby chaser. Man knows he liked him thick at 7. That kid knows what he wants and how he wants it. Respect. My 3-year-old daughter loves old monster movies. I'm in the habit of putting a movie on while I clean the house. I plugged on King Kong, 1933. Next thing I know, my daughter is enthralled. She can't stop screaming, "What's that? A monster!" and crying when Kong kills a dinosaur. I asked her 5 times if she wanted me to stop the movie and got an emphatic no. Since then, she's gone on to fall in love with Ray Harryhausen films and Godzilla films. She cries her eyes out every time Mothra leaves Earth in Godzilla vs. Mothra, The Battle for Earth. My wife was concerned that a 3-year-old actually enjoys crying and watching movies that make her sad or scared. I just shrugged and found some old Kong and Godzilla toys on eBay. When her friends who are girls come over, she tries to get them to play monsters. They look at her like they have no clue what she's asking. I was a weird kid myself, so my only hope is that I can convey to her that there is nothing wrong with being into things that other kids aren't. That it makes her unique and cool and interesting. My son has said that when he kills someone, he'll put their body on the train tracks so no one will know they were murdered. And then he said if anyone saw him, he'd have to put their body on the train tracks too. He was 6. I embrace his dark side. It'll help out a lot in the future zombie invasion. It'll help out a lot in the future zombie invasion. If he doesn't somehow cause it, that is. I come home from work one night to find my darling 2-year-old blonde daughter standing at the top of the stairs staring up at the full moon in her jammies, teddy bear in hand. She should have been in bed by this time. Not wanting to scare her, I walked up the stairs, knelt down next to her, and asked her what she was thinking about. I was imagining she would say something childish like, "Is the moon really made of cheese, Daddy?" Something cute like that. Instead, she turns to face me with a very serious look on her face, and in a very serious and creepy monotone voice says to me, "We are all in the same cage." 2 years old, I nearly died of fright. I literally recoiled from her and ran back down the stairs backwards. I couldn't believe it. She said a few more creepy things like that, but it stopped after a while. That was 12 years ago. She has since turned into a very happy and well-adjusted teenager who is only slightly in league with Satan. We got a philosopher here. I've told this story once before in a similar thread, so here goes. My kid hid a dead animal. It's escaping me what kind it was, either bird or squirrel. He kept it there for a long time till it began to stink up everything. When found, I thought, am I raising a serial killer? I watched him closely for years. He's fine now, in college, good grades, etc. If he's a serial killer, I have no idea. I can think of lots of possible explanations for this, most of which don't involve psychopathy. Your kid might have found the bird and did a kid version of giving it a proper send-off. Or maybe they did accidentally kill it and were so overcome with remorse and guilt that they were afraid to tell you about it. I actually did this once when I was given my first BB gun, killed a sparrow, and was immediately sick, and I still can't shake the guilt. Haven't killed anything since, and I think this experience actually changed me for the better by giving me a taste of what it is like to kill something at such a young age and discovering how thoroughly horrible it made me feel. Of course, I also get teary when I see a dead animal on the side of the road. My kid has been the weird kid since about 2 years old. His favorite bedtime stories were the user manuals to my appliances. At 3, he became obsessed with human biology and would watch open heart surgeries on YouTube. He was also obsessed with vacuums for 4 years. He would spend hours in department stores demonstrating to shoppers how to use them. At 5, his summer plans was to teach himself mechanical engineering and physics. I could go on. But when he turned 3 is when I started to suspect he was different. He was my firstborn, so I had no idea if he was developing normally or not. His thirst for knowledge became extreme, and I didn't understand how to handle him. So at 4, I sent him to a child psychologist. I was terrified my son would have a nervous breakdown, because although he was so young, he never once in his life played. All he did was learn. The psychologist made it clear to me that he was gifted, but that I had to force him to play. Otherwise, he would develop OCD and other disorders. I'm trying to make this short. He is 8 now and still different, but he does play. Sometimes. I'm happy he is who he is, but I can see that he has a difficult life ahead of him. He doesn't have many friends, mainly because he would rather discuss the news than some new game or toy. I can say this though, I don't think I'll ever meet another human being who is anything like my son, and I love that about him. He is going to be a millionaire if you foster that talent. He's unbelievably interested in bugs of all sorts. In 2nd grade, his class was learning about bugs and their body parts, thorax, abdomen, etc. His test asked him to circle all the pictures of bugs that had mandibles. He got a point off for not circling a mosquito. He went and talked to the teacher and told her that the mosquito has a proboscis, not a mandible. She gave him the point back. My cousin is creepy. Smashed his pet hamster to death around age 5 with a toy fire truck. 5-year-old kids should not have unsupervised access to hamsters. Bad parents. Yeah, kids don't understand the concept of death.